Husband started demanding DNA tests after his friend's wife cheated. But then I found out he was actually engaged to a pregnant woman who thought I was his ex-wife. Hello everyone. I 34F have been with Ken, not his real name 37M, since I was 16. We met in school as he was my brother's friend. We have been married for 10 years. Have a 2-year-old son and one on the way. Ken has always been my person. The person who you can't picture life without, and I honestly can't remember not loving him. I grew up with him, he's my everything. Unfortunately, Ken has this issue where he takes on everyone else's feelings like to heart. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, however recently his best friend of 20 years has just found out that his wife has been cheating on him and none of the children are his. Obviously his friend is devastated and is staying in our guest room. He's a nice guy, just life has him down right now. He's started the process of divorce. The more time Ken spends with his friend, the more depressed he's become. And distant. Our mornings used to start where I would wake up at 6 a.m. with our son, make breakfast, then about 8 a.m. I could wake Ken up with a coffee and some breakfast before going to drop little one off at nursery and go to work. Ken works from home most days, only going into the office on a Monday. So I'd give him his coffee, he'd give me a kiss, and then I'd go off on my happy little way. Then I'd finish work, get our son and go home where Ken would be making tea. I'd clean up after whilst he was bathing our son and putting him to bed. I thought this was life. It might sound boring to some, but it was my life and I loved it. Our house was filled with love. We would spend our nights cuddling, talking, watching a movie. Date night once a month. We would take our son out together on a Saturday and then Sunday go visit family or have friends over. You get the picture, I'm rambling. Sorry. Anyway, for the past month things have been changing. Ken is more depressed. I make him a coffee in the morning and just get a mumble, "Thanks." I'd come home from work and the friend and him would be in the living room watching sports. I'm now making tea. Bathing our son, neither of them will barely talk to me. We don't go out on the weekends together. I feel like a single parent. I've tried to talk to Ken about it all, but I'd get one-worded answers. Then he stays up till about 1 a.m., which I know it's not super late, but I'm passed out by then. I'm exhausted, alone and pregnant. I miss my husband. Yesterday I came home from work and you know when something just doesn't feel right? Well, I went to find Ken to see what he was doing as his friend wasn't in the house, but Ken's car was. He was in his office looking up DNA kits for our son. I asked him why and his response was, "Well, I just want to make sure all the kids are mine before I continue looking after them, as I'm not a free childcare." This broke me. When I say I'm devastated, it's an understatement. But if he thinks that I've cheated on him, then surely the trust is gone? Is there any going back? Am I just being pregnant and hormonal? Would I be extreme for looking for a divorce? I could put the papers in the envelope with the results from the DNA test. I think I'm gonna go cry in bed now. Had to take the day off work as I feel like I've just been gut punched. Update 1. Hello Reddit. Well, after my post earlier this afternoon I cried, then read all your lovely comments and I couldn't be more grateful. I think posting about it here really helps for some reason. Weird how telling complete strangers that I'm struggling with life seems to help. So I think after my pity party, which couldn't last long due to being a parent, I called my stepmom and dad. My mom died when I was 10. They are coming to stay with me on Friday. Crying on the phone helped, although I'm not really sure they could truly understand a word of what I was saying. I've spoken to Ken, well, more like spoke at Ken, telling him that his friend has till Thursday to leave. I'm not a monster and can't just tell him to leave at the drop of a hat. I've also told Ken he needs to leave too. Whilst yes, I could go to my dad's house, I don't want to disrupt my little one more than needed, and all the things for my baby is here too. Especially as I'm 8 months along, it just seems stupid for me to be the one to leave. I've made it a point of not pointing out it's my house either. I'm trying to be calm and sensible. I'm not 100% sure Ken listened, but I did message his sister, who is a force to be reckoned with, and she said she will make sure he's gone by Thursday night. Things I've told Ken I want is, yes, he can have the DNA test, but I will be damned if I'm the one to do it. He can also have one for the baby, as I ain't got shit to hide. I know that some people have questioned why I'm so against it. Let me make something clear. I would never cheat because, as I said in my last post, Ken is / or was, I dunno, my person. He's the only man I've ever been with. So that isn't any concern of mine. I'm just hurt that he wants one because clearly he doesn't trust me. So things I want him to have the DNA tests, mainly so I can make him eat the results. Not literally, I'm just venting. I'm also going to suggest couples therapy. I already see one due to losing my mom and my little sister in a car crash when I was little. I want to suggest he sees one alone, but you can lead a horse to water but can't make him drink it. I don't want to force him to do anything he doesn't want to do. I want him to maintain contact with our son. Yes, he doesn't believe he's the father right now, but that's no reason he should neglect him, as he's his, and I don't want to upset my son. Yeah, he's only 2, but still he deserves all the love from both his parents. He's done nothing wrong. Then obviously this one when he or she comes along. Still not sure about the state of my marriage, but even if divorce is what happens, I need to be able to get through to him so he can be the father he was. Am I going insane? Do I sound insane? I don't know why writing here helps so much. Thanks Reddit. Update 2. Hello again. Following my 2 other posts, I will answer some questions. Yes, it is my house. It was left to me when my mom died. I have lived here all my life. I didn't move out because I have a child and one on the way, so why should I be the one to leave? I get that some people believe I was the off for asking him to leave, but as I was heavily pregnant, have a toddler and it's my house, I wasn't about to leave. Yes, he could have stayed, but have you tried living with someone who just wants to argue or just not talk? I'd prefer my child not to live in that environment. Thank you. At the end of the day, I'm a mother first and a wife second. If you think that's harsh, then I don't know what to tell you. My children come first, end of. Well, Ken's friend did leave the day I told him he had till Thursday. He wasn't happy about it and shouted some insults at me, which was amazing. Ken's sister came and picked up Ken. I wish I could tell you what she said, but she didn't say anything in front of me, just kept giving Ken death stares. We did get the DNA test for little one and Ken is the father, obviously. Ken somehow thinks I've intercepted the results even though I wasn't the one that did it. I wasn't the one that got handed the results, so he's clearly lost his mind. My dad came over and whilst I was making tea my waters broke. My little girl is here, she healthy and happy. She was 9 pounds 8 ounces, so no concern of anything with her. I'm now a mum of 2. I am home now and Ken has been to see his baby girl, although as she's not had a DNA test he disagrees with her being his because his family doesn't have many girls yet. He has a sister, so I just rolled my eyes. I don't really know where to go from here. Ken is refusing therapy. He says there's nothing wrong with him or his brain. I beg to differ. He wants to get another DNA test for our boy but won't tell me when or where, so I can't interfere. Maybe one day he will come to his senses. My dad and stepmom are staying with me for a while to help me with the babies. I'd like to say I'm okay, but honestly my emotions are all over the show. I don't know which was his up. Ken's sister visits the babies and we have an unspoken rule that we don't speak about Ken apart from when our son asks about him. I wish it was the kind of update where he got the results, seen how much of an idiot he's been, and we move on, but sadly that's not the case. I can't dwell on it too much, just take shit one day at a time. I do miss my person and worry that he's missing out on his baby girl's life already, which if I think about too much I will just sit and cry, but I don't have time for that. As always, thanks for listening to me rant. I might update if anything else happens in my life. Right now I'm still left wondering if I'm doing the right thing here. Is there anything I could do differently? Why are my kids so hard for him to accept all of a sudden? Update 3. Hello again Reddit. Things have been bizarre, but now I have closure. I know what's happened to my marriage. I know what scum Ken really is. He's not my person and never truly was. So now I just want to divorce him, cut my losses and move on with my life. I'm still at home with my babies settling into motherhood. My dad and stepmom are still here, but they will be leaving soon once I'm more emotionally stable. To say I'm okay would be a lie, but I now know what I need to do. I have some sort of closure with Ken. I know what happened with him and I know that it's not my fault. Turns out Ken was having an affair and has a baby on the way. Even typing that makes me want to throw up. I found this out when a visibly pregnant lady just knocked on my door and asked me when I would be leaving the house, as it's Ken's house. When I say this confused the crap out of me, I mean it. I talked to this woman for a while to try to work out what she was talking about. It turns out that she's Ken's side piece. Well, technically in her head she's his fiancée. A month ago Ken got down on one knee and proposed to her in my fucking kitchen. Classy, right? So they have been seeing each other for a while. She's having his baby. She believes I'm the ex-wife who Ken is letting him stay in his house till I get on my feet. We apparently broke up a few years ago and none of my kids are Ken's. When I go to work in the mornings Ken goes to her house and works from there. They were waiting for marriage to move in together. How you trying to marry someone when you're already married? Fucking weirdo. I asked for proof of all this. She has pictures of them together. Apparently she has a account that they make content together. I told her we are still married and explained everything to her. I'm not sure what she's going to do. But hey, not my circus, not my monkey. Now I want a divorce. Is it true that once you talk to a solicitor about divorce they can't represent the person you're divorcing? I want to go around our town and meet with as many solicitors as possible, as the first hour is free, so that he has a very hard time getting representation. Is that too petty? The house is in my name only and is protected, so there is no way he can take it. I have all my money and we do have a joint account, but that's just what we put our share of household bills in. I haven't spoken directly with Ken. His family have completely cut him off and he's been kicked out of his sister's house. All those people that was concerned about him having tumor or something wrong with his brain, I really don't think that's the case. I think his actions just caught up to him as his lies were going to come out once his baby was born. I think that's what happened. He got backed into a corner and tried to fight his way out. Through divorce process I will get the court to do DNA testing so he has proof for both. Even if he chooses to not believe it. I'm mentally exhausted from all of this and sat wondering how I didn't notice. Might have to go for an eye test. But honestly, would I be so wrong for just making his life as difficult as possible to get legal advice, or is that too far? I want him to suffer. Update 4, December 1st, 2024. Well, hello there again, Reddit. I'm okay. I totally just forgot about my ramblings on here, lol. I'm doing okay. I'm officially divorced from Ken. It took a long time to get to this part of my life, and some points I actually felt like I was drowning. Both of my kids had a DNA test through the courts and they are Ken's. He still doesn't believe it. Not my problem though. Ken is now in prison for domestic abuse. I'm not 100% on the details because I wasn't involved. It was his side piece. I'd love to say that sometimes I don't break down in tears and I'm completely over it. But I'm not. I've now gone back to work though after my maternity leave was finished. I got a promotion. And now I'm used to living with just us three. My kids keep me going and I'm so proud of them. They go visit their grandparents and dad's side of the family and they have been so lovely and supportive. His sister is still amazing. I don't really know what else to say. Just I'm okay. I'm divorced and my children are thriving. I can't thank Ken for a lot of things, but I'm grateful for my children. Next story, 18-year-old niece announced her engagement to a 36-year-old man who started dating her when she was 17. When I called him a predator, my entire family said I was jealous. I, 33M, have a pretty big age difference with my brother, 44M. He had a child at 25, which means that I became an uncle at 14. Because we were pretty close in age, I formed a special bond with my niece, Ella, now 18F. When she was 16, my brother and his family moved away, so I've been seeing them less recently, but we keep in touch and catch up at family events. Last year, at Christmas, my niece told me that she had a boyfriend and told me a bit about him, but I didn't know the guy. He was invited for Easter and a couple of other events, but was never able to make it. When we were planning our mother's birthday, my brother decided to invite Ella's boyfriend so that we could all meet him. Yesterday was the birthday. I was looking forward to meeting Mark, Ella's boyfriend, but was very confused when I saw her walk in with a man that looked double her age. Spoiler alert, he is. She introduced him to me, and I politely smiled but was deep down very concerned. I went to my brother to ask how old Mark was and he told me that Mark is 36, so literally double Ella's age. She had told me that he was a bit older, but I assumed like early to mid-20s, not almost 40. That's when they called us in the living room to share exciting news. Ella showed us a ring and revealed that they were engaged. I just said what the fuck and everyone turned around and looked at me like I was crazy. I told them that they were out of their minds if they thought this was normal, that there was no world in which a 30-something should date an 18-yo, and that she shouldn't be getting married. All of them accused me of ruining Ella's happiness. Some even said that I was jealous of Mark, which is so fucking disgusting I can't even explain it. I mean, I'm younger than Mark, but never in a million years would I ever consider dating someone younger than 25. They told me that it was perfectly legal as they were both adults, which isn't true because they've been dating for a year and Ella turned 18 7 months ago, and that if they were happy that's all that matters. I told them that they were sick for allowing this and that he was a predator, but they wouldn't listen. I know this isn't my business, but I can't help but fear for Ella. She is young and doesn't really know what she's getting into. I'm really scared of her getting married and being unable to leave him when she realizes how sick it was. I then left and slammed the door, and have been receiving pretty wild messages and calls since then. I don't know if I was wrong for this and I'm just overreacting, and if I wasn't wrong I don't know what I can do to make them realize how wrong it is. Ada? Update 1, November 9th, 2024. So I've taken the past 24 hours to really reflect on all of this. I tried to take in most of the advice in the comments, and here's what I have decided. I don't think that me telling her and everyone that the relationship is weird was wrong. I do however think that I did it wrong and it was pretty harsh because it was in the heat of the moment. But I still find this very creepy and don't think she should get married. What I've decided to do is, 1. Apologize to her. I sent her a text saying I was sorry for my outburst and that I should have thought it through beforehand. I told her that I never wanted to make her feel like I didn't want her to be happy, and that I loved her very much and had her best interests in mind. 2. Ask her if we could talk about this. I asked if she would be okay and free to hang out and maybe get coffee this week to talk about all of this with a clear head. I really want to try and get her to see why it's weird and that maybe marrying him is not a great choice. 3. Explain myself to my brother. I sent him a text saying that I was sorry for the way I said it, but that I still thought that it needed to be said. I explained to him why I think Mark is a predator and this relationship could have a very negative and damaging impact on Ella. I'm still waiting on their replies. I'll update when they reply, or when I see Ella, if she accepts, depending on how long it would take. In the meantime, I really want to thank everyone who gave me advice and was constructive, and really tried to help my niece out of this situation. I also send my best to all of the people in the comments sharing similar stories when they were the teenager getting groomed. I'm so sorry this happened to you and I really hope you're doing better now. Update 2, November 12, 2024. So, following my text, see last post, Ella replied and told me she agreed to meet with me and talk. I just came back from seeing her. Here's how it went. She asked me what I wanted to tell her and I started explaining that I didn't think her relationship was very healthy, and that no older guy should want to date a teenager. I told her that she was an incredible woman, so I wasn't saying it was weird that someone would want to marry her, but that guys my age normally shouldn't even look at a teenager. She wasn't convinced and said that sometimes it's true but sometimes it's okay. I asked her how she would feel if I told her that someone born today could be her future partner, and she said it felt really weird. I also asked her if she would consider dating someone younger than 15, and she said no. I could see her starting to realize that Mark maybe didn't have the best intentions. I also asked her if she knew about his previous relationship, and she said vaguely and just told me the girl's name. I asked her if she knew how old the girl was and she said she was 21. I also asked her if she knew that their relationships overlapped and she said that Mark always told her he was single since they met, but she kind of felt like that wasn't true. I told her that since his previous girlfriend was also significantly younger, it seemed like he had a thing for younger girls, which is kind of weird. After discussing that, she told me a bit more about her relationship. She told me she was starting to feel weird about it because of Mark's recent behavior. I asked what she meant and she said that he had been flirting with a lot of girls, who were all also younger, including some of Ella's friends. When she confronted him, he sort of gaslit her into thinking it wasn't flirting. He was also making a lot of comments about having children with Ella and how cute it would be to see her raise them. She told me she was absolutely not ready for that and also wanted to go to college and work and not be a som. Because of all of that, she was doubting her relationship and I told her that I understood. She said she was scared of breaking up with him because he had become her whole life recently and she didn't know what she would do without him. I told her that she was surrounded by people who loved her and would be there for her, and that she was a lot more than just Mark's girlfriend. I said that she knew my opinion on it, but that ultimately the choice was hers, and that I just wanted her to be happy. I also said I would be there for her no matter what. She told me that she will try to break up with him this week, and she'll let me know how it goes. I'll edit this post if I have more info. Also, again, thank you to everyone who gave advice and tried to help us. I really appreciate it. Edit. Okay, so I just want to say, some people in the comments seem to think that this is fake, and you know what, I can understand. And I don't really care. I'm not asking you to believe that my life is real or fake, and it's great that you don't just believe everything you see online. But I just want to say this, there are hundreds of people on here or elsewhere that share similar stories. I'm not really affected by people thinking I'm lying, mainly because I'm not the one in that situation. But some people might be. Some people come on here to share something that might have traumatized them, and the last thing they want is for others to think they're lying. So if you don't want to believe me, that's fine, but the next time keep that to yourself. It's fine to not believe something, but you don't have to say it, because it might make other people feel really bad. Additional info, OOP clarifies details regarding the BF's previous relationship prior to current one with Ella. To explain this in more details, I went through the guy's socials with my friends a few days ago because we thought there might be other weird things going on, and we ended up finding info about his previous relationship, the one right before Ella. So Ella told me at Christmas, so December 24th, that they had been dating for a few months, but when we searched his Facebook we saw a post wishing happy birthday to a girl who he called his baby on December 12th. And this girl appeared in other posts where they were kissing or he was calling her pet names, so we assumed she was his GF. Which Ella confirmed afterwards. And this girl also looked very young. He at one point wrote something about her and said as soon as you're done with college, so we knew she was in college. And she looked between 20 and 25. And Ella then confirmed that she was 21. But yeah, basically it seemed like he was still with his ex while dating Ella, so I asked her if she knew about that. OOP should be prepared to support his niece if she chooses to break up with her BF and distance himself from the family if they are blaming OOP for Ella's breaks up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if she ends up breaking up with him, which I hope, her dad will blame me for it. Which is the last thing she'll need if she manages to get out of that relationship. I will gladly take the blame, but I'm just scared she'll feel guilty about it and blame herself if she sees that her dad is mad at me. She's a very empathetic kid, which is a really great quality, but sometimes she hurts herself because of it.